These are some of the tests of those decorations, but at the same time as being decorations and being part of the kind of architectural expression of the building, they are effectively functioning as a kind of environmental performance device. There you see the pattern on the scheme of the buildings. I'm going to move to the last category, the vertical, which, as you can probably imagine, are those envelopes that have a very low X and Y dimensions in respect to the C dimension. What is interesting about these envelopes, and what I believe the kind of capacity to transform society, transform their politics, lies in the fact that they are dictated by the most stringent technical performance rules in terms of facade ratios, configuration of the scheme, and so on and so forth. And at the same time, they have the most stringent also requirements in terms of architectural expression. If in the previous iteration we saw that applied to the scheme of the building, in this case, is the whole envelope that becomes mobilized by those friction between these types of constraints. Obviously, there are ways of solving them in the most expensive manner. Unfortunately, architecture now has come up with the devices in which anything is possible if you have a client that will pay for it, but where those technical constraints that are very much part of the history of the type, of the vertical building, are literally separate, also in terms of expertise, from the expressive concerns of the project. So you see these buildings where certain iconographies are literally deployed onto more or less conventional envelope to represent certain cultural traditions. And on the other side of the spectrum of this type of envelope, you see envelopes like these. This is Hong Kong. You probably have seen plans like this, where the kind of relative humidity of the site, and I believe also certain cultural patterns that make it difficult for Asian people to accept that your home is entirely artificially climatized and lit, which is what happens, for example, in Manhattan, the kind of origin of residential high-rises give rise to these type of envelopes that are incredibly corrugated, so that every one of the rooms has a direct access to natural light and ventilation. So on one side we have the kind of total the expression of the building as an iconography that is deployed onto the envelope. On the other side, the envelopes that are dictated by those thermal performances. In Dubai, the opposite. You don't want to have a relationship with the outside because it's too hot. So the envelopes become compact, and once they become compact, then again you have the freedom to decorate them. And I think that freedom that we have created with this division between the technical constraints and the expressive constraints is what is producing landscape like this, which I think are losing the opportunity to do some more interesting things with envelopes. So one of the things that for me is more interesting about this type of envelope that has been also rarely considered by people thinking about them is their environmental and climatic performance. The tower is actually more exposed than probably most other buildings to the sun, and it's also an element that casts shadows on the outside. And I think those are arguments that can help us perhaps to make again the envelope expressive while retaining its performative capacity. This is research that we have done in the office in this respect, when we look at the facade ratio of different buildings in different locations, and you can see from but from some buildings in Korea where the facade ratio is 0.38 square meters of facade per square meter of floor plate, to buildings that are reaching 0.84. And I don't think that this is only, as I was saying before, a question of climate. I think there is a cultural dimension to this, which we can explore today. We can, for example, most of these Hong Kong residentials do not have a pressurized core, which means you save energy and so on and so forth. So there is a number of issues. The kind of anisotropy of the plants is manifest between the more compact types, where it doesn't matter really how the building is organized, to the more corrugated types, where the orientation of the plant enables the units to have better views or better solar performance. This is the first project that we ever did on this typology. It was a kind of inquiry from Max Brothers to do a test on the ground zero project, where we try to actually mobilize structural concerns in order to produce this new prototype of a tower that was made out of 6 interlaced towers that were buttressing each other. Should I stop here? 2 minutes. Okay. I think maybe you've seen images of this tower and how those technical constraints are also trying to communicate a certain message. And the other research, which I won't have time to explain, but has to do with the anisotropy, the performance of the anisotropy of the tower. This is the kind of traditional tower, but you can actually see that by having a triangle you have perhaps better structural performance and better also orientation. So those are some of the studies that we've done comparing the performance of the envelope. The corrugations of the envelope is a project that we are doing in Korea, in KL, where we have a different solar constraint, and therefore they are slabs, corrugated slabs with solar shading devices that actually produce the image of the building, and kind of hybrid case of master plan in Seoul for the old stadia, Olympic stadia, where we are proposing round towers that can combine views to the south and exposure to the south, catching the sun, also views to the north, to the river, which is the most noble orientation of the site. So near the sudden death, I think that I need to finish.